I never imagined that something as natural as having a child could be so complex, isolating, or utterly demoralizing. When my husband and I decided we were ready to try for a baby, I did what most women do. I booked an appointment with my general practitioner, my doctor. I remember sitting on the uncomfortable plastic chair in her consult room, feet flat on the floor, my hands nervously on my lap. I said, I got married a year ago. What do I need to know or do to prepare to have a baby? She smiled warmly. She knew me well. You're only 33, still young in fertility terms. You don't smoke, drink much? No, and no. Excellent. Just take a prenatal with folic acid and start trying. If nothing happens, come back in 12 months. It felt straightforward, upbeat. Looking back, I wish someone had warned me that the journey might not be, and that there are other things you can do to improve your chances. But no one did warn me. Month after month, nothing happened. My excitement began to shrink. I told myself, it just takes time. How long is it meant to take? What if something's wrong with me? Eventually, we turned to IVF, then more IVF. I still remember the sting of the hormone injections, the quiet politeness of the early morning waiting rooms, the way hope and dread could sit side by side in my throat as I waited for the results. 3.5 years later, our first daughter was born. I was exhausted. The pregnancy had left both myself and my daughter unwell. It wasn't the vision that I'd had of motherhood. My husband really wanted a second child. So more IVF. Another positive test. But then a devastating prenatal diagnosis. And after that, I didn't want to try again. I was physically depleted, emotionally threadbare. I was done. I followed all the advice. Nothing had really worked for me. And my body was falling apart. I was dragging myself to the physio gym just to stay functional. And one day my physio said, you should go see this naturopath. She glows. I didn't really know what a naturopath was. And I was so tired of recommendations. Have you ever felt that way? But my physio was persistent. So off I went. The naturopath did glow. She was also deeply concerned when I told her my story. She told me things that no one else had, about nutrition, about environmental toxins, reproductive risks I'd never heard of. It felt like I'd been in a long, dark tunnel and someone had suddenly turned the lights on. It was quite disorienting. I remember racing back home, opening my laptop and scouring PubMed, looking for research. And what I found was overwhelming. I discovered that fertility isn't just about age or genes. It's about what we eat, what we breathe, what we absorb through our skin. and how those exposures influence gene expression, inflammation that can be hidden, hormones, sperm and egg quality, things like BPA, phthalates, lead, cadmium. They were showing up again and again in the research as risk factors for infertility, for miscarriage, for poor egg, sperm, or embryo quality, for poor health outcomes in the child and future generations. Why had nobody brought this up? Not my nice GP, not the IVF clinic. Then I found a study showing it takes 17 years on average for new science to make it into mainstream care. 17 years? By that point, I was almost 40. But I realized then that it wasn't that my GP didn't care. It wasn't that the IVF clinic didn't care. They just didn't know. It wasn't part of their training. I decided to take charge. My naturopath helped get my husband on board. We replaced personal care products. We removed plastics from the kitchen. We changed cookware and other things. After 5 months of living differently, and on just our second new IVF cycle, we got an embryo. The clinic hadn't given us good odds. We'd spent over $100,000 on our fertility journey. And based on past cycles, the chances of that one embryo being viable were low. But that embryo became our second daughter. What were the odds? She was healthy. I was healthier than I had been. We can't be sure what tipped the scales, but her birth became the seed of our fertile future. Because I didn't want anyone else to ever have to fly blind through the journey that I'd just been through. So I'm investing my skills. The decades of experience I gained leading global change in a Fortune 500, Fortune 50 actually, into a new path. Not a clinic, a mission, a strategy hub, a systems level support network where women and couples can finally get clarity on the invisible factors affecting fertility and where they can take control. Because they deserve more than vague advice and trial and error, when so much more is known. They deserve to know what's within their power to change. And they deserve that clarity before they're desperate, out of money or hope. Our work is grounded in evidence, but also in lived experience, mine and so many others. 1 in 6 people globally are now experiencing infertility. Over 1 in 5 in areas of the Western Pacific in their lifetime. And it's rising. One key study found that a more than 50% decrease in sperm count between 1973 and 2018 across North America, Europe, and Australia. The standard process isn't working for everyone. And whether someone chooses to act on emerging, indicated, or just the established evidence, in this high-stakes fertility journey, that should be their choice. So today I work alongside naturopaths, nutritionists, general practitioners, integrative doctors, and researchers. The science is here, but the systems are behind. Our fertile future exists to close that gap. to translate research into action, to help people create conditions where fertility can thrive holistically, proactively. So if you're trying to conceive or planning to, take the environmental fertility check at ourfertilefuture.org. It will help you spot hidden risks and take informed, proactive action. And if you're a practitioner, a researcher, anyone who cares, join the movement, please. Because this isn't just about healthy babies. It's about protecting fertility for the next generation and building a world where reproductive health is no longer undermined by our environment, all the systems that can hold us back. We're planting seeds of change, and we'd love for you to be part of it.